Hello, welcome back to the Wisdom of Womanhood podcast. My name is Showy Moon, and I have a beautiful guest here with me today. Our lovely Pippa, who is normally our co-host, is coming in today to share a bit more of her story. I know some of you know her very well, some of you don't know her that much, and I really wanted this to be an opportunity for you to immerse yourself in all that she is, and in particular, how she is leaning further and further into her gifts and how she holds space here for people. Because her work is incredible. There is so much that happens beyond the wisdom of the podcast. So yeah, she's going to share more about her story, how she got there, how she got into the work that she is, what's currently happening in amongst the baby making, and then what the vision is going forward. Welcome, beautiful.
Oh, it's such an honor to be on this podcast with you.
The best podcast ever.
I think it just comes from a place of like, our work's always evolving. It's always,
Mhm.
there's always learning to be done, and clients help us learn as well with like different people coming in with different experiences and life journeys and stuff. So I think it's behind the scenes of the topics that we talk about. We always give our wisdom and our insights and our personal stories, but when it comes to our magic and what we're doing for the world, I think sometimes we kind of like I said, we don't dive into it a lot. So we're definitely going to do. We'll have to invite Showy back onto the podcast to have, because I think it's
You can
just,
interview me.
yes.
Mm.
Just to touch on what we spoke about before I press record is I'm still training at the moment, so a lot of my stuff is evolving. I wanted to get a lot of it done before baby comes. I'm doing two lots of training over the next 2 weeks. So when I've done the training, I'll need some guinea pigs. So I'm going to be like, Shower's going to be my guinea pig and we can record it, you know? But I think it's really cool to see it like live as well. Like I know a lot of podcasts do like live coaching, live whatever, but I think just showing you like different modalities and stuff as well with that. So that will be October time before baby
Love it.
comes. It'll just be cool to show you different, because I've never trained in these before, and I think it's going to be cool for me to experience them, and we're going to have them done on us as well as part of the training. So yes, what would you like to know?
I would love for you to open up with sharing the very beginning, even before, training, even before realizing that this really wanted to be like your career and your business. What was the beginning like of your personal development journey? Personal development, spiritual development, like right back. What were like the first conversations, the first books, like the first moments that you were like, okay, I want to learn more about myself. I want to grow. I want to, and that's going to be through personal spiritual development.
Just a quick disclaimer: if my camera goes off, it's because the battery's gone. So it just so you know, I I remember. So this is obviously back in the UK when I lived in the UK, and I worked for my dad for a long time. So I was always in a family-run business. And I remember just thinking, like, I want to, you know, have my own business and be successful like my dad and work from home and be with, pick my mum and dad always picked us up from school and things like that. But I remember like always looking for this like stream of income somewhere. I was always looking for something to like, and I used to start up loads of network marketing companies. God, I was a nightmare. Like I was the best person for these network marketing people because they go, Pip, I've got this network marketing business. It's selling these products. Da 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 da. Do you want to sign up? And I'd be like, yeah, yeah, yeah. And I'd just sign up to all these things. And I think I was looking for something. I was kind of searching for something that would help people, not realizing that it was actually me. That, I think that's because my confidence grew as well. So it wasn't until I started with, who was it with now? I was with, it's called Forever. They're in the UK. It's like a natural product company. And I got my whole box, my setup and my sign up. And I was doing little like home, you have friends round and you show the products off. And some of the girls were just talking about like mindset, and we had little calls together. And I remember them saying on one of the Zooms or whatever we were using back then, they were saying, you need to watch or read The Secret. And I was like,
Hmm.
what's this secret? Like, so me being me, I just like, okay, I'll watch it. And I watched it and I was like, oh my God. And back then, obviously The Secret now is kind of very different to how I saw it back then. But I just sat there and thought, wow, like that's really powerful, and how powerful our minds are and how our thoughts attract, you know. So it just became this real, I guess like that seed had been planted. Like I'd watched The Secret and then it kind of spurred on to watch more things and finding different teachers, you know. Abraham Hicks kind of came in the mix a little bit there as
Yeah.
well. And then just I don't know what it just clicked something in me where it was like there's something I need to do to help people, but having these products isn't it. Like it's not that. It wasn't that kind of fire in my belly, you know, that I asked myself a question once when I was doing these network marketing things, like we'd have like little meetups and we'd do like little talks and things like that. And then we'd go to these little meetings and then like different people would get up and talk in front of an audience. I remember being shit scared. I was like, oh my God, there's like 50 people. Oh my God. But getting up in front of those people and then having the conversations, the real conversations at the end of the presentations were where I was buzzed. Like the real interactions with people, like the interactions with their life, their journey, what got them here. And I would say now that's my most favorite part of my work is learning people's stories, is what got them to here, what got them to now. Even if it looks absolutely fucking shit, what got them to here. I'm so honored to be listening to that journey, for them sharing that journey with me. So it kind of like that. I'm grateful for the network marketing stuff because it really got me to actually, it's not the products. The products are helping me connect with people, but what I really want is the people. You know, I want to connect with the people. So it kind of was I'm grateful for everything that how it worked out that way. And then that spurred me on to be like, I'm very spiritual. I started to really become awake to things, and then Reiki fell into my life. And then I've did my Reiki level 1 in 2016. And that's where it all kind of just blew up really for me in those years, and realizing like I have fire in my belly to help people. And it's always there. Like it's always there, like seeing being with someone, and you'll get this, Showy, because you're in similar work to me, is like being with a client if it's one-on-one or being in front of an audience talking, and they're looking to you for hope, for guidance, for some sort of light or some sort of just interaction, or you know, like relating, what's it, relateness, like they're just trying to find the tribe or whatever it is, and you're a piece of that, no matter what
Mhm.
it looks like. It doesn't have to be like, oh, the client for life. That moment of like 5, 10 minutes or an hour, whatever it is, they they may have found something in you, you know. And I think that's kind of like where it just keeps me going, that I'm not for everybody, but the people that I am for, it's it just yeah, it's like a deep feeling. It feels really deep for me.
And I think fundamentally, people want to be seen and heard. And what I'm hearing from you is that it lights you up to give people the opportunity to be so seen and so heard.
Mhm.
And absolutely the modalities that, you and I use and so many practitioners are fucking incredible. They work with the body, they work with the energetics, they work with the nervous system, all of these things. However, the core essence is holding a space of love so that people can be seen and heard and valued, without the lens, without the veil that we're so conditioned to put up because the separation agenda is so rife, like the division agenda is so rife. So yeah, I hear that, and it's what a beautiful gift to give people, right?
Yeah, and I think I'll hold my hands up too with learning what I'm learning now with Caroline, and being a part of the mental wellbeing company. The two, obviously, like Caroline set up that. I'll talk about that in a second, but she helps us realize that when we are where we are, it kind of clicked in place for me when she was talking about sometimes when a client's here with me is I've always been told I really create a safe space, and that's something that I'm really proud of, is that safe space for people to come in as they are and be, like you said, seen and heard. But I noticed as we were learning different, going through our course and doing my master's level 7 is like when we're listening to clients, sometimes we know all the answers for them. And we want to tell them, we're like, oh, it's this and oh, it's that. And I remember thinking, like, that's not my place to do that, though. Like, they've got to find it within themselves. So doing this, I mean, there's nothing, I'm saying there's nothing wrong with it. I'm saying, like, it was from pure intentions that I just wanted to come in and just swoop and rescue them and, give them all the answers. But that's not actually truly helping them. They've got to connect their own dots. So having this like shift in like, I held my hands up and said, oh, I used to do that. Like, oh my God, I'd be like, this is happening and connecting these dots. And it's like, but they've got to have the light bulb moment. So when you start seeing them have these light bulb moments going from the head into the body and having these really beautiful experiences, whether, release through cry or whatever it is, you've done a different type of service. Because for me, I'm a talker. I love talking. I could talk forever, but sometimes sessions don't have many words in them. And that's kind of like where like the space has changed for me, because I'm like I'm saying before they arrive to God, to the universe, like allow this space to be what it needs to be today. And then just really trusting myself, trusting that whatever comes up in the session is meant to, like when you did the session with me here, like, and he was going wild in my tummy, there was no expectation for like what I needed. I just knew that I would get what I needed from the session. So I think when I start trusting myself, the sessions look totally different for me. And I think that's kind of like where I started to change how, because it is a confidence thing. Like you are helping someone, you're holding this beautiful space for people, and you go into some really deep, dark places sometimes, and it can be really like intense. So I think when you do have that confidence and clarity and connectedness, excuse me, and compassion, like you just have a more deep awareness around why I'm here, why I'm doing it, like what's because that's such a good, beautiful connection, isn't it? When you have that rapport with them and trust. And that's
Yeah.
kind of like what teaching is like, that people really warm to me because I am a warm person. And I've got this motherly energy, which people say, like, I feel like I'm having a beautiful conversation with a really like nurturing figure. And I'm really proud of that because that's what I wanted to create in the first place, and it's who I am. So yeah, it's just been interesting seeing how it's shifting my confidence and how I help people through my work. So yeah.
I never think it's by coincidence that some of us find ourselves in these places as our work.
Yeah.
Because it brings a whole set of values and level of accountability that we have to live by in order to even be in this work, right?
Yeah.
And so we then therefore are so committed to our personal growth because we cannot show up in this space if we're not like walking the talk. And so it's so interesting, whenever we speak to other practitioners, it's great. It gives us like this extra nudge of like, got to keep showing up, like got to keep going, got to keep doing this, because that is what it is to be an integrity to the industry as well. The industry of self-development, the industry of holistic wellness, the industry of therapy, is that in order to show up in that, it is this growing, along the way. So I love how you've already shared. Yeah. So this is kind of how it started. And then, these are some of the changes I made, and this is how I'm continuing to evolve. Okay. So what are the current ways that you work with people?
So up to now, I feel like, because obviously things are changing because I'm going on maternity leave, I've really stepped into, it's like I love one-to-ones, like they're obviously intimate and you get a lot out of them, but I'm finding that people want to get, like, a lot of people want to get stuck in. They want to just get stuck in. They want to just heal as fast as possible. Now we've got a due diligence to kind of advise and guide these clients that I'm only going to go as fast as your nervous system allows it, because we got to watch for re-traumatization. Because if your nervous system is overloaded, you're just going to be like, fuck this, I can't handle it. So I see that need, that desire of like, I want to get fixed. And after a man, like, there's nothing broken about you. It's just this
Yeah.
journey is just different for each person. So I have a lot of Reiki clients, which is lovely because Reiki can look so different to me. So again, with confidence, when I was doing my Reiki, I was very much like, stick to what I've learned and stick to the manual and stick to what my Reiki master taught me and stuff. So whenever once someone rings me or like texts me about a Reiki session, I have the bed out, I have the chair ready, I've got all the like tools and stuff. So like it's not always them just lying down a bed, for like whatever part of the session. It's whatever is needed in the session. So it's kind of like I stopped needing it to be a certain way, if that makes sense. Like I mentioned before, it just trusting how it's meant to show up as the healing session. One
So
thing that I've
what, like
just,
on that, can you just like explain that a bit more? So as well as say like energy work, what would be some of the other things that you
well, I
might
love you
bring in if
mentioned
you're
this because
really guided?
I use this story in a lot of like people, because people want to know like what happens in the session and what goes on. So I had one lady come and she just needed to just vent, 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 vent. Someone to listen to her, like just listen. So the most of the hour, and sometimes it goes over, most of the hour was her talking, having someone compassionately listen to her, and me not feeling like I need to fix and solve all of her issues, just someone to listen. So there's an example of like what a healing session could look like. Again, Reiki's kind of like in that little box of like a Sui Reiki, and it's like I don't want to keep it in a box. Like a healing session is so much more. One lady came, she needed someone to give her a hug. She needed like that physical touch of someone giving her a hug, holding her hands. She needed to go ground. She needed to be on the ground, taking her shoes off. So we did a grounding session. We did a little burn ceremony while we were there because she wanted to let go of some stuff. She was just heavy in the shoulders. I've had someone who just needs to listen to music and meditate for a bit. So we sat on the floor and we meditate. Honestly, it can look like anything. I was just reading, I got a few reviews posted the last 2 days, and I was rereading some of the reviews that was on my page. And I just was like, just just like when you sit and you just relish in the, and how one lady said, I loved how Pip explained how the session could look and how I just
Yeah.
went in with an open mind with what I needed, and she felt so refreshed and rejuvenated afterwards, and it just made me feel like I am trusting that. So there's other options, like people need to do some journaling, or they needed to do some connection work, they need to do some nervous system work. Like honestly, and as I've evolved through my study, it has changed. But
Mhm.
what I'm loving at the moment, I'm a very practical person. So I love practical things. Like I love practical tools. I love workbooks. Workbooks are amazing. I love printing them off and filling them in. I just love all that kind of stuff. With my studies, we've been given different workbooks to work with clients. So a lot of clients, I'll go through different workbooks. We have the nervous system mapping, which is awesome. We
Mhm.
have the generational trauma and the trauma timeline stuff and things like that. So, learning those and then bringing them into my work, that's like quite fresh for me, but I'm really enjoying that because I've done them on myself and they've worked really well for knowing my, deepening my self-awareness. So with the healing sessions, I do say to people if they ask, because some people are like, okay, I'll just turn up, but some people are like, what happens in the session? And so it can look in so many different ways. And sometimes, what's really interesting? I have one lady that comes once a month, sometimes twice a month, and she needs that hour to lie on the bed because she never stops. And she
Mhm.
needs that hour to just, and half the time she falls asleep. And that's
Yeah.
okay. And she wakes up or she, comes out of it and she's like, I just need that time for me just to feel balance, have some balance put back into my life and self-care, and have that part, that hour for that week is mine, because she's busy with, running her own business. Her husband works full time. She's got kids, got 3 kids, so she's just never stops. So
Yeah.
sometimes it looks like that for people as well.
Mhm. Yeah, beautiful.
Mm.
And I love how even in the conversations that clients have with you before they're coming, you are saying like essentially you will be guiding this based on your needs. You know, I have very similar conversations with my Reiki clients in particular of like, your soul is guiding this and knows what it's here to receive and release. I'm going to hold the space. I'm going to move the energy. I'm going to do everything, you know, but also like you are actually really empowered in this. And I think that's like a point of resistance that some people have with like seeking therapy or, you know, seeking coaches or whatever, is there is a like perceived fear that they won't be in control anymore, or, you know, they'll be taken to places they don't want to go, or, you know, like the classic thing with Reiki, which is hilarious, is like, I don't want you to read my mind.
Yeah.
My 13-year-old daughter actually said that to me the other day. She's like, hey mom, so, you know, with your work, does that mean you can read people's minds? And I said, well, no, babe, but I read their bodies. I
Yeah.
read body language, you know, and I can pick up a lot in a very short space of time from the way that people say their words and move their bodies. Anyway, that people are still really led by themselves, like a supportive coach, mentor, practitioner, whoever it is, like what they will either verbally articulate or not, is that I'm here to be of service to you.
Yeah.
And here's all of the ways
Yeah.
that I can
Yeah.
be of service to you. And I'm going to show up in that. But also, like, obviously, if someone is coming for a particular thing, it is like that is also our obligation. But having that space of like, we're going to cater to what your needs are today, you know, and your capacity today.
I think
So it's
well, I
a
do
great
know
thing.
people come as well, like no matter what modality I'm doing, is like reminding them that they're healing themselves, and like we're
Yeah.
holding space as healers to, you know, help them heal. But it's like I'm not healing them per se. It's just that the space is, that's why trust and rapport is so important in a setting like that, because they feel more open, and when they're open, it's like the chakras feel open. It's just, and they're allowing me to there's so much gratitude that I feel, and it comes really deeply in times throughout, you know, the week or whenever, where I just feel like for people to come into my space and have that openness to want to heal, to want to feel better, because most clients just want to feel better. They want to feel more in control of their lives. They want more peace. They want happiness, whatever it is. It's just that they're allowing me that hour or that day or whatever it is to guide them, but hold, like you said, hold the space for them. And sometimes like that overwhelming gratitude comes over me that I've created that. And like you've just put post on today of your beautiful space now in your new home. And it's like Jesus Christ, like I'm so lucky to have a space that's I get to have here at my house. Like, and people come and they just feel this, I love this space. I'm so grateful for it. And I think I want to touch on something which is coming up for me and niggle in the back of my mind is I've seen posts over the last few months, I mean over the last few years too, about the labels of life coaches, the labels of therapists, practitioners, mentors, healers. And there's a lot of I did see a post and I can't remember who shared it, but it was about life coaches and what they actually do, or, you know, whatever it was. And a lot of it was slating, like, you know, why would I want to go to a life coach? Because what life experience have they got that I've not got, blah, blah, blah. So I was just kind of like, I glanced through the comments with an open mind. And I just sat and meditated on it for a little bit. And I remember saying to myself, like, I was so stuck for months, maybe years. What should I call myself? Do I call myself a practitioner, a healer, a mentor, a coach, whatever? What I want to get across is no matter who you're working with, okay, if they're a life coach, they're the life mentor, if they're a healer, if they're a somatic practitioner, whatever it is, it just imagine that's not there, and just understand that underneath that label is a beautiful soul wanting to help and support and guide you. And they have wisdom, knowledge, and even just the wanting, even just the, what's the word? Like they just have a desire to help people in whatever way they can. So I think like when we start looking at life coaches and all these different labels, look beyond that. Like said, watch Showy, watch me, watch whoever it is you're watching. And if you like resonate with them, that's a beautiful thing. ignore the titles. Like it's like saying like Pip is Pip. That's just my name. It's not who I am. You know, who I am's deep, much deeper than that. So it just kind of like I was meditating on this whole like life coach and how life coaches have been like they're getting slated a little bit because of whatever. And I was like, but underneath that label is someone who is just on their journey wanting to help in whatever way
Mm.
that they can. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and I actually want to follow on with a similar message, but a flip of the coin. However, you've already given the kind of solution to it, is that we do need to use discernment within the industry,
Hmm.
um, because there are potentially situations that people who are vulnerable could put themselves in without realizing it, with others who use maybe particular titles or labels who don't have the trauma
Yep.
informed understanding, the experience, that aren't dedicated to their own practices that help them to become regulated and have the capacity to even hold space, and not from a judgment place, but just from a lack of understanding,
Yeah.
and often from a lack of proper mentoring,
Yeah.
like actually a lack of having the guidance, whether it's, you know, the tutors, the lecturers, the mentors, the masters, whoever it is that's supporting those people. Often they're not receiving it to the degree that they need to hold people through often what has been traumatic experiences that have happened, and then they're seeking help for it. So Pippa's already given the solution to that, which is use your discernment, but like get a feel for people. Like get a feel for people if you do want to work with them. Social media is fantastic for that, because you can see, like, you know, what people's values are, what their practices are, like their energy, their essence, how they communicate, how they're still dedicated to their growth. Like those are all the green flags that you would want to be looking for if you are committing time, energy, money, like investment in someone as a practitioner in the field of therapy and wellness and everything. And yeah, so I love what you were saying around, like, look, the title is a title. And it's funny
Yeah.
because I have literally changed mine like 20 times. And like
Yeah.
I constantly do, because I constantly change, you know.
Yeah.
So what did someone at an event I was at on Friday, I was like, oh, you know, what do you do? And I said, so I am a somatic therapy practitioner and intimacy and pleasure communication coach, which sums me up right now. I could have totally interchanged those words for other things. I said, oh, I'm a wedding celebrant. Like they're interchangeable, but also it's like for us. So then the message for us working in the spaces is just staying connected to the ways that we are
Yeah.
presenting ourselves into the world.
Hmm.
You know, it's like if you're not connecting to your work, to how you're describing yourself, like mix it up. You know, as long as you're not claiming to be anything you're not, like, which is not okay. But you know, you have to connect in, you know, or like, and for, like at one stage I was like, I'm a holistic wellness coach, holistic
Yeah.
wellness practitioner, whatever it is. You know, at one point I was like, I'm a Corona Reiki master, like it's interchangeably, you know. Um, yeah, but so just, you know, I think it's specifically just a really good message for people when they are searching for those to hold space for them. Like, you know, use your discernment, especially if you really do need like support and you're super, super dysregulated. My drop in around that is just ensure that whoever you're working with is trauma informed.
Yeah.
Because a lot of practitioners aren't,
Yeah.
unfortunately. But then those practitioners can be perfect for people that are looking for, you know, like some relaxation, some meditation, like some things that don't need like critical support. And so it's like I feel as if there's a space for everyone that has a heart that wants to work and help people. There's a space for everyone. And we're all like pieces of a puzzle, right? And we all fit into that because,
Yeah.
like you said, absolutely, like people have got these big hearts and they want to help. It's just trusting that you'll get the help you need from the people you need at the time.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a really good point, like I said, because I've been, I've worked with someone who completely effed me over, and I didn't use my discernment enough. Like the red flags were there and I just ignored them, but that was a while ago. So I'm a lot more equipped with things like that. So I'm grateful for that experience. But jump on a call with people. I always jump on calls with people
Totally.
before I've even worked with them. I'll just say, let's jump on a connection call and have a feel for each other, because we're not all, sometimes we're not meant to work with each other. It just depends
Yeah.
on the client and what you need and things like that. So, just say, hey, can we just jump on a quick like connection call? I'd love to chat with you and get a feel for you. And reviews are great. So check the reviews of people as well. Like, I don't ask for them enough, but I need to really, because they do help with reputation, and word of mouth's always good for people because I've been to Pippa,
Yeah.
I've been to Shao and things like that. So
Mm.
yeah, I think with my work currently, it is shifting slightly because obviously I'm going on maternity leave and I've got to finish off a lot of study, and I've got my training stuff coming up the next few weeks. But what I'm really enjoying, because I love spending time with people, and sometimes an hour is like
Hmm.
that. So I think I am changing a few things next year for when I come back to have like longer sessions. So a lot of my healing sessions might be 90 minutes. And I do VIP days. So we do trauma unlocking VIP days, which we go through a big, big, big workbook, which was created through our mental wellbeing company. So yeah, I've been through that myself. So I've done all that myself. So having those VIP
What
days,
is
it's like,
that? What is
so
that?
the mental wellbeing company who I'm with Caroline, she set up that out
Yeah.
the UK. So her students who she's taught the trauma informed certificate, I'm doing the certificate and the qualification. They can be brand partners for the mental wellbeing companies. They're the ones that are doing all the workshops, schools, businesses all around the world. And they've created a one-to-one VIP trauma unlocking workbook. It's like 106 pages. And I'm yet to do my first one, as in like my first one with it. I've got a couple booked in this month from the workshop last week. You're going through all the stuff that we learned through the certificate. So the stuff that we would
Cool.
do, nervous system mapping, the attachment styles, internal family systems. So
Mhm.
you're kind of getting like everything in one. Like, so that's why
Mm.
it's an intensive VIP day. So we're roughly doing it from like 9 till 4 with an hour lunch. And I'm excited to
Cool.
do that because for me, I'm the type that wants to get stuck in and give
Mm.
spend a day with them, get to know their story. And I think it kind of spurred on from I trained in Dolores Cannon's hypnosis, QHHT. I did level 1 and 2 with her. And they're like 5 hour sessions. And the first part of the session, we're getting to know it's kind of natural process. It's called the interview. That's what we called it in the training, where like the client comes in and they're kind of just talking to you about their journey, their childhood, any traumatic events that have happened, whatever they feel like sharing. And I just love listening to people's journeys. Like, no matter what it looks like, I don't have any judgments. And I love that about myself. I don't sit there and I just sit there with no judgments. I sit there with a beautiful, compassionate heart. And then that was kind of like spurring me on. I used to say to Chris, my husband, like, even though the hypnosis part of the session is so vitally important, like that bit of the session, we were always taught you're getting to know them, but that's healing in itself because they're openly sharing a lot of vulnerable stuff with you that they may have not shared before. And a lot of answers sometimes can come up in that session as well. And I used to come out of the session, I go, oh, it was great. Like I had such a great session without going into detailed confidentiality. But I used to just say to Chris, like the first part, getting to know their story lights me up so much because we're all so different, but we all
Mm.
experience trauma as well. So it's like, learn it through like all these men go off to war. Why didn't they all come back with PTSD? Only some did. So it's kind of like all these different people from different backgrounds and learning like, a lot of Kiwis come that they have like English backgrounds and European backgrounds, whatever it is. And so I think these VIP days I'm really going to enjoy because I get to spend the
Mm.
whole day with them and take them through all these different, workbooks and worksheets that I've done and really helped me understand myself and understand my nervous system and my trauma and things like that. So the VIP days are something that I'm like pushing a lot more because I feel like they're just incredible
A
with all the
deeper dive.
things. Yeah, they're really deep and they're really, really, really healing. They're really like for in like intensive stuff. It's not for everyone, like you said, because some people like to do it slowly and they like to. So I do give them the opportunity to say, these are deep, intensive like days. So
Mm.
I will be watching, you know, you and watching how your nervous system's going, checking in with you, making sure you're doing okay. And so I'm excited for them so I can let you know how they go in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, they sound super cool. Mm.
Yeah.
Cool. What else?
Well,
You've just run your first
yes.
trauma-informed workshop.
Yes. Yes. I did it last weekend. So with the mental wellbeing company, it's amazing because they create all the PowerPoints and the slides. So we have to do training, obviously, like, with it and stuff, but it's all the stuff that we learned in the certificate. So I really enjoyed it. I got a lot of people got a lot out of it. They're very informative. So we have 90-minute ones, 3-hour ones, and then 6-hour ones. But the 6-hour ones are for more for business. The
Yeah.
skills are more like 3 hours. And I just felt so like just being up on with the TV and the slides and just being a part of that, like a company, like just being representing like the mental wellbeing company and be a part of something that my teacher's created from her passion and her story and her love for helping people. So I think that's kind of like why I just have anything she puts out there. I'm like, oh, sign me up for Caroline stuff because she's amazing. So she's my teacher and she's teaching us the qualification, and I just love everything she's done. So the trauma informed workshop was about parents, solely focused on like trauma informed parenting. And I just loved it because I've learned so much for my stepkids as well. So when I was doing this certificate, it's like the universe was providing me with like opportunities to apply what I'd learned to the kids. And that was really cool because I got to like experience it and then write up on my assignments and stuff, like I got to experience this with my youngest or my eldest and things like that. So, and I just feel like where I'm at now with baby coming, I just feel so like I don't know if like how I word this. I was chatting to Mary, like our mutual friend, and about my upcoming birth and how I'm really excited about it. And she said if she was giving birth now, it would look very different to when she did give birth because of her awareness. And I just feel like I'm so like much more self-aware of how my body is working and how it's trying to keep me safe and it wants to keep me safe and how it's working on different levels and when triggers happen and just all these like so many things that I've learned, even with my brain and how the brain works, just fascinating
Mm.
stuff that I'm no expert in, but I just love learning about it. Is when it comes to birth, like I feel much more equipped because I know
Mm.
that I can stay in that beautiful aligned state and know that if I let panic come in and I let like that, what's the word? If I start letting fear come in, that's when my body's going to shift,
Yeah.
into fight flight and my blood's going to move away from my uterus. Like just stuff that is technically basics, but the awareness that I have with my own body and what I've experienced and how I've been toning my nervous system and working through my different tools. So that's why I'm really excited for birth. So I was saying that like I just feel really equipped with the tools that I have to go into birth with a really calm, just a calm space, really. So I'm really excited to see how it goes.
I I will drop this in
Yes.
as well, is that you will be initiated no matter what.
Hmm.
And it might not be calm just because we know all the
No,
tools
no.
sometimes.
Yeah.
So because there is, I think it's something that can happen when we're in the self-development journey, and particularly as practitioners, is that it's so easy to guilt and shame ourselves because we
Yeah.
know all the tools. Like,
Yeah.
and we should know better. And so just the one thing as a woman that has birthed 3 times is
Yeah.
that it might not go according to the vision you have in your
Yeah,
head.
and that's what I'm open to. Yeah. I just know that I have tools to
You
help
have
me
the tool
get.
belt.
And the thing is,
Absolutely.
like, I'm open to the fact that it may not go as I want it to. I might
Yeah.
not end up birthing in a birthing center. I might need to go to hospital. I just don't know what's going to happen. But
It'll initiate you no
yeah,
matter
I'm
what.
fully calm knowing that I have the tools, even without like moving into the tools of what I've got for my own self, but like of saying no when I want to, or moving through what I feel is just having that awareness of like not need to control how it is, and just letting,
Yeah.
like you said, letting it be how it is. Like I have a beautiful vision of how I would love my birth to look, but that's not always the case. And I know that from, like I said, from listening to you and other people's stories and stuff. And but I'm just calm in the sense that I know it's going to happen as it's meant to happen. But when things
Beautiful.
arise, I've got tools to help me cope and help me
Mm.
connect and come back to some sort of presence or come back to whatever it is I need to. But I've never experienced it before. So it's just going to be, it's going to be what it's meant to be.
Mm. And it sounds more than anything that you're feeling empowered going into
Yes.
it,
Yes,
which
definitely.
that's the key, right? And what I'm hearing from you is that's a byproduct of the self-development work, of being in a career, we're having a business where, we live and breathe these things, is that sense of feeling empowered going forth in life, whether it's birthing, whether it's other challenges that we face in life. When we have the tool belt, we just feel more empowered and more aware of what is happening as it's happening, which doesn't always mean that it goes according to plan. It
Yeah,
doesn't
yeah.
always mean that we're like this. Like I spoke about it in the workshop that I ran last night, and I'm like, there's no like, oh, now I'm healed, like,
Yeah.
now
Yeah.
I'm like, now I have all the things. And I'm not saying you're doing that, but it's so, and I want to say this because still people fall into it.
Yeah.
And then it brings the guilt and the shame. And I know particularly for so many mothers, the shame and guilt they've held onto after their births because
Mm.
they've had an idea of how they wanted it to go.
It didn't
And
go
then
that
due to
way. Yeah.
whatever, due to like life just having a different plan. And so just, yeah, ensuring that, well, if we can do what we can to help avoid that happening with so many mamas and for you going into your birth, then it will just lead to more surrendering to the moment as opposed to the idea of how we want it to be.
Yeah. My actual thing
Yeah.
finally went. Yeah, it is. And I
Okay.
think that's the place I'm at with it. Like I said, I've just surrendered to the fact that I've got everything I need. There's
Yeah.
nothing that I don't actually like need. So I think I've got this beautiful vision. I'm holding on to it. I'm doing all my little hypnobirthing stuff. And so I think it's just kind of I don't know, I just feel calm and at peace, really.
Mm,
And I think like you mentioned a good thing there as well, like with that, this like there's no I'm healed. There isn't that, like there's definitely moments of feeling in a good place of that self-awareness and self-mastery and
mm,
knowing yourself on a deeper level. But there still comes up the stuff that you need, the triggers still come up and there's still stuff that is still stored there in the body. And I think that's the key, is that even though like a lot of people can get addicted to the healing journey and get addicted to wanting to grow and addicted to all this, like, doing these meditation or whatever it is, it's like, can we find flow in life as well and take
yeah.
time to actually like breathe and like you said, integrate and initiate and things like that. So I think I just feel in a really good place. And I love the word, like you just reminded me, that I feel empowered. Like I feel empowered with the tools I have and
Mm,
empowered with the knowledge and the wisdom that I have as well.
yeah, that feels really nice.
Mm.
Okay, so let's finish off this convo with gift me, please, with your grandest vision of you as a person of service and what you can see going forward. Like, what would that look like, feel like?
For me personally, I want hmm I have a desire to I want to be on stage, like reaching more people from a perspective of like community and connection. I have this like I love the tribe feeling, like being, it's not even like a leader, it's just a someone who can just have like the light, like I'm holding the beacon and like people may follow that because they're drawn to it, like just holding, and even if the words, I'm not saying any words, just holding a beacon of light, which says to people, she's safe to follow, she's safe to be around, she's safe to have in my life. And I think more collaboration, because I love collaboration. I think, even doing podcasts or whatever workshops, whatever it is, when we can come together as women, as men, united, whatever, I think there's just more power in community,
Mm.
and there's more power in collaboration, because it's just that just we all have a kind of a similar goal, and we have a similar, like, we want to feel better, we want to feel more at peace, we want to feel lighter. So I think just I'd love to be on stage. I'd love to. It just feels like expansive in a way that I do I have this feeling that after I give birth, there's going to be something that's like initiated within birth, like that's going to just I'm like after when I'm kind of like back into a bit of land of living after birth, there's going to be something that's just clicked within me, and when that comes, I know it will. I'm going to share it with you, and we'll put it on here. Because I've always said from
Mm.
day one with Chris, there's something about birth and motherhood, even from being a child. Like my mum said to me, my mum and dad are on a cruise at the moment, and I was having a chat with her on the video call last week, and she just said it's going to be so beautiful seeing you with your own baby, because she said you as a child were just like, I mean, I know you watch little girls and they kind of have mother instincts, and you just see them really cute. Like my niece is like that. She'll get the doll and she's holding the doll and she's like, but my mum said you just had this like energy of just wanting to nurture people, leave them better than you found them. And she said, like, even when you had friends come over for dinner from school when I was like 6, mum said you would just like, like this energy would take over me, and I want them to feel good and seen and heard, and make sure they feel like happy and they feel, but amongst that, I stopped putting myself first. That's kind of like where kind of things shifted. But for my mum to kind of tell me how I was as a kid, like, that to be so selfless as a 6-year-old and just be like my friend, wanting to make sure my friends were okay and they were fed nice. And do you want dessert? And like, I was just and that's still within me, and I think that's what I want to keep connecting to, is that the Pip, like that nurturing motherly Pip. And I think
Mm.
that's going to even more strengthen after baby's here, I think.
Mm. Beautiful. Yum.
Yum yum. Feel like I need to go bask, go get naked in bed and just
Yeah.
bask in my gratitude for myself.
Yeah. Beautiful, Pippa. Well, thank you so much for sharing some of your story of the pathway that led you here to being a beautiful space holder of love and care. And I'm really excited for what is to come.
Me too, thank you. And I'm inviting you onto the podcast next to do the same for you, learn more about you and your journey. I can't wait.
Mama Chow.
Hmm.
Beautiful. Okay, friends. Well, we love you dearly. Thank you for joining us for another episode. By the way, just to finish off, please keep sending in your feedback. I have had so many messages in the last 2 weeks from you telling us how much you've resonated, how I've had some messages around the mother wound, fatherhood wound episodes as well, of people having real epiphany moments in those conversations. So we're always here. We're always just a message away if you want to chat about anything or give any feedback or ask any questions. We will do an episode at some point coming up that is all just listener questions, and there will be no limitations to those. So I'm looking forward to that. Otherwise, take care. We love you lots, and we will speak to you next week.
Yes,
Mwah!
love you all. Thanks, Showy. Love you.
Love you.
Bye.
Bye.